By 2007, the Kinks had been separated for more than 12 years. During this time, Ray Davis worked on his solo career, while his brother Dave worked on a book and film. But the Kinks' music and legacy was still alive. Even the Oscar-nominated film Juno featured the Kinks' well-respected man on the film's soundtrack.
People have real affection for the Kinks and continue to feel like those records exist for them in a very present way, and they speak to generations of younger people and older people and continue to do so.
The Kinks music definitely has longevity because it doesn't sound dated.
The band continues to influence legions of fans and a younger generation of rock and roll artists.
I think the Kinks, if you're interested in rock and roll, really passionately interested in it, remain relevant, particularly to young bands today and therefore to young listeners today.
I think they're getting credit. The credit has been increasing in recent years. And people look back and they see it. And I think young musicians look back and say, "This is really great." You say it wasn't worldwide smash hit popular, and no, it wasn't really. But I think you can see now how great it was. So I think they're building and building and building.
It's in a club down in Old Soho where you drink champagne and it tastes just like cherry cola.
In the United States, I think that the Kinks are probably one of the biggest cult bands. You know, there are so many good songs there that somebody's going to be reviving a Kinks song for decades to come.
Kinks are their heritage, the body of work, their shows, the lyric content of those songs are so special.
Having already become members of the American Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990, the Kinks were also inducted into the UK Music Hall of Fame in 2005. In 2008, Ray Davis continued to expand his musical repertoire with the debut of his theatrical musical, Come Dancing. Everyone wondered if this musical would be the last they would hear of Ray Davis and the Kinks.
I kind of come to grips with the feeling of our career being up and down, up and down.
Dirty old river, let's just keep rolling, flowing into the night.
That's how real people live, you know, they're not always happy. Just life really bites you in the butt when you least expect it.
But I don't need no friends, as long as I gaze on water is sunset, I am in paradise.
And I'm perfectly happy now to listen to some of those records and think, yeah, that definitely wasn't bad.
In September of 2008, Ray Davis announced to the world that he hoped to reunite the Kinks. But were Dave, Mick, and Pete on board?
You see, with Ray, it always has to be his idea. That's a really, really big problem. And maybe that's the way it can only function in that way.
The world would come to see the four original Kinks play together. Yeah.
Would I reunite with the Kinks? Absolutely, definitely not. No way, no way.
I hope they do reunite, and yeah, and I hope they go back and recognize how great those early records were, you know, but it's unlikely.
I've had to deal with, emotionally, with what I've donated to the Kinks, emotionally and spiritually. I've done that. Now I have to use what time I have to work on my own stuff. But of course I'd like to work with Ray again.
I believe that if the Kinks get back together, that there are a tremendous number of people who would not love to see them, and that he could have a triumphant tour. I'd be right there in the front row cheering them on.
None of them really appreciate what they did. because most of that generation just don't do that. They don't, for whatever reason, maybe the memories are just not that pleasant about the early records, or being ripped off, or whatever. The dynamics at the time just makes it difficult for them to go back and enjoy them, which is a shame.
Whether or not the 4 original members of the Kinks, Dave Davis, Peter Quaife, Mick Avery, and Ray Davis, ever reunite again, one thing's for sure: their music will live on.
Well, I don't care if you hate each other, love each other, stay together if you can. Go do your side projects, do your solo records, but always come back to a band. A band that actually works, right? That actually makes great music is a magical thing and should never, ever break up. Blood will be spilled, but that's okay. It's worth it.